greatest damn show on YouTube. Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube.
Chat, mobile plug in the building, mobile plug in the building. Oh man, double tap the screen, shut a live out. What we doing tonight, chat? What we doing tonight, chat? Double tap the screen and shut a live out, man. We got mobile plug in the building. I told y'all I was gonna be on the road taking care of some business, and hey man, here we are, man. But you know I was gonna bring y'all a fire episode. Shout out to Corey World for hitting me up, man. As on another platform, asking was I gonna go live, man. Shout out to Corey World, man. Y'all double tap the screen, shut a live out. We do got an action-packed episode tonight. Even though I'm on the road, man. We got let me see, man. We got TRUMPS. Chicago TAKEOVER is here. They're saying that he was an FBI informant against Epstein. They're saying he was an FBI informant against Epstein. We got the Chicago TAKEOVER coming down. We also have Dr. Robert Malone confirming the leaking of a memo. Man, we gonna get in all that. Let's get in the intro mode, man. Where that baby go there?
I told that bitch don't get in my car if it don't come with no name. I told my niggas I don't like the beef cause that don't come with no check. I told my niggas to mark my word, I guarantee that I'm next. I got the arms of a bodybuilder from the way that I flex. Might just hit the strip just to go blow me a check. They know what the fuck I'm on. They say that they got some of the best gas, they call it Southern Georgia. Chain on chain and ice on ice like Adam Sandler. I'm water boy, I know I'm all in the head. Bad bitch laying in my bed, wait till I give her a sprint. I'm a master with the head. Don't let these social fool you, these niggas broke. I know that they ain't bought it. Ain't got no car but talking shit. Okay, then no walkie talkie. I told that bitch to come home. I ain't got time for no bitch that's healing. Talk to blood, she call me daddy, and I'm screaming out no dick. I'ma make sure that she come. I'ma fuck her good with my tongue. I know the night is still young, so baby, let's get it in. I know just how she likes it tonight. She spicy, she added a friend. They ain't identical, but they fucking like so in the bed. I call them twin. I call them twin. I call them twin. Bitch, and shoot a shoot. 1 + 1 = 2. What you tryna do? Go back for back, check a swoop for swoop. Either way it go, I'm on. Either way it go, I'm gone. Brody them just got like 100 on them and they tryna get them gone. What you call it, wet? What's the name? And he put it in his song. Brody them got the purest powder, his pink, you know this shit is strong. No diddy. I'm the type of nigga that turn my bitch up in each city. Brody got out, we celebrating, we hit the gritty. I'm feeling like a baby, I'm trying to get that milk about them titties. It's no question who young and the latest. If you want your bitch, then when she talking, hear her. If I want the bitch, I'm going Pittsburgh. Still her. I keep some on the side, I don't have trust in just the main bitch. Suck me up while I'm driving like damn, I'll die by this lane switch. Shit, different type of free, so we ain't never got a tussle. Throw it back like Miss London, and some of your life be hustle. Yeah,
Oh man, double tap the screen, shut a live out, man. Press 1 if y'all are in here rocking with me, man. Let's see who in here rocking with me, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We on the late night. Y'all see me in the vehicle, bro. Like I'm on the road trying to bring you guys an episode. I wanted to hang out tonight. I could have went to the club, to the bar. Man. I wanted to bring y'all an episode, man. Rico says those 2 people in uniform are traitors. Yo, that's gonna be the first story tonight, Rico. We got an action-packed episode. Let's get to 100 likes right quick, chat. Let's get in the algorithm. Let's get to 100 likes right quick, man. We got an action-packed episode. We got Trump ready to take over Chicago. Y'all seen he put that post out there today where it's looking like he called it the Chicago apocalypse, I believe. The Chicago apocalypse, I believe, man. Hold on, chat. We also have Pritzker, man. We got Pritzker. He sat out on MSNBC, and he's getting his residents ready for Trump, you know, and ICE and everybody coming out there. You know what I'm saying? He's getting his citizens ready, man. Bracing for troop deployment is what they're calling it. An ICE crackdown. I need everybody to double tap the screen, shut a live out. G-Do, what it do, G-Do? Everybody double tap the screen, shut a live out, man, on your way in. We also have video footage of a massive crowd in D.C. marching to the White House to protest the federal takeover. I think they marched down 16th Street. I seen a police officer car in front of them. We also have a guy that was working for I believe it was the DOJ, maybe it was the DOD, it might have been the DOD or the DOJ, but basically they saying that he got caught on a hot mic talking about the Epstein cover-up. He got caught on a hot mic talking about the Epstein cover-up. They're saying he was just a low-level employee. Well, this guy's kind of breaking down what kind of employee the man caught on a hot mic was. Like I said, Trump said, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. We know that Trump changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War, and he's saying, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." So I'm expecting it to start rolling out maybe tomorrow or maybe one of these mornings this week. It says Chicago apocalypse. It's like Chapocalypse, that's what it's called. Chapocalypse, not Chicago. It's Chapocalypse now, is what the post says. Chapocalypse. Also, we got Speaker Johnson revealed that Trump was an FBI informant in order to take Epstein down, and a lot of people are split on this issue right here. A lot of people are saying that's great that President Trump, we know he's not in the Epstein list. He worked with the FBI as an informant in an effort to take down Epstein. But on the other hand, people are saying you only become an informant after you're caught in the act of doing something. Also, another side is saying, well, maybe he didn't do anything, but if he was an informant, was he just around while things were happening? So we're going to get into that breakdown as well. I'll take some call-ins and let you guys let me know how you feel. BRICS also unveiled their currency. They unveiled it maybe a couple months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, but it's right now going back viral. It's going back viral because back then they were saying India needed to get on board. 2 or 3 months ago, the tone was different when we were dealing with India. Now we seen India's leader coming out to the Chinese show of force. That's what we'll call it. That is what it is. They're calling it a parade. It was a show of force. They seen India's leader coming over there. India's leader also has been, just not always on the same page as Trump when it comes to certain things right now. So the BRICS currency is being unveiled. I'm looking at it here. It's a nice looking note. It has all of the countries on it in a circle. I'm looking at a bird. Looks like maybe a dove or something. I don't know. We'll get into that here in a minute as well. And we have the Arkansas farmers. I'm from Arkansas, chat. I am currently in Arkansas right now. The Arkansas farmers are facing a dire crisis. They're saying that about a third of the farmers in Arkansas are gonna be bankrupt next year. They're saying due to everything that's going on right now with this administration, a third of the Arkansas farmers are due to file for bankruptcy next year. But the story that we got right here, right now, is U.S. military arrests 2 service members promoting Palestine while in uniform. A lot of people are saying that these are not active duty members. These are former military service members. They're not active, but the way the post was read were that they were active, but they're saying that it has been confirmed that they are not active. It says discharge and jail them for disgracing the uniform. Well, they are not active. It says protesting is fine, but not like this because it wrongly implies government endorsement. They even put up the codes a lot of people are calling for treason. It's even going as far as treason with these guys. I'm going to get to the comments in a second, you guys. I just wanted to give y'all a rundown, give my thoughts and opinions. Like I said, I am on the road, so if you can, double tap that screen for me. Share this video out far and wide. Double tap the screen, share the video out far and wide. We are 25 subscribers from that next sub goal. We are oh so close to 31,500 subscribers, man. I hope everybody's having a good night, good start to their weekend. Hope everybody's made it safe, man. Safe travels for everyone. So I'm gonna get into this clip, and I'm gonna open up the call lines a little bit early because I want to know how you guys feel about this. They are protesting. A lot of people are saying they're telling the truth. A lot of people are saying that they are telling the truth but going about it the wrong way. A lot of people are calling these two individuals traitors. It's mixed emotions going around, so I'm gonna play the clip and let you guys decide.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Rise up, America, rise up. It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time. Thank you for your service.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Rise up, America, rise up. It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time. Thank you for your service.
Got her by the arm, escorting her ass to that loading dock, chat. Escorting her to the loading dock, chat. So how do y'all feel about it? Press 1 if you agree with what they're saying. Press 2 if you do not agree. Liberty Bell said that guy was kicked out of the military. I'm going to go and read some of the Twitter posts. I'm going to read what they're saying on this post for you guys. It's saying, update. These two traitors are reportedly retired U.S. Army veterans, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar, Green Beret, and Captain Josephine Gillabue, former intelligence officer. They were arrested for disrupting a Senate hearing while protesting U.S. policy on Gaza. That was from Paul over there on X, from Paul A. Fitzpula on X. A lot of Wally's World says they should be court-martialed, dishonorably discharged, and lose all military benefits. The Tea Party said, who'da thunk loading the U.S. military up with foreigners will result in situations exactly like this? What happens in a war with these soldiers with loyalties to other countries / ideologies? Paul responds, good point, time to tighten up standards. Recruitment is already overflowing as it is. So they're calling for recruitment standards to be tightened on military, chat. How are y'all feeling about, should recruitment standards be tightened on military? Press 1 if you think they should. Press 2 if you think they should not. Should recruitment standards be tightened on military? We are 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and if you are watching on your phone, a quick double tap will support the channel greatly. A quick double tap. Let's get back into some of these comments. It says you can protest on your own time, not while wearing the flag. They said it's pretty simple, but they're narcissists, so now they're gonna find out legally. Idaho Country Doc says immediate discharge. She is not mentally stable and should never have been allowed to join. DEI results in people being unalive due to incompetence. So they're blaming DEI for this. They're blaming DEI for this over there on X. Some of the people are. Somebody said, so let me get this straight. Wearing the uniform to push a political candidate is protected speech, but wearing a uniform to speak out for Palestine is disgracing the uniform. It's funny how rules suddenly bend depending on who's the soldier speaking up for. Maybe the real problem isn't the troops. Maybe it's the double standards at the top. So how do y'all feel about that, chat? Should you be able to wear a uniform to push a political candidate? Yeah, one in the chat if you should be able to wear a uniform protecting a political candidate. Two, if you should, pushing. Two, if you shouldn't be able to wear a uniform while pushing a political candidate. Let's see how the chat feels. One, if you should be able to wear a uniform while pushing a political candidate. Two, if you should not. They're calling it a double standard. So I'm going to play the clip one more time for you guys and just think about if this was they were a political rally.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Rise up! Rise up, America! Rise up! It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time. Thank you for your service.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you...
Let's see what the chat's thinking, man. This is crazy, man. This is crazy, chat. Like I said, there are conflicting sides. It says, Tito Unleashed over X says people can say what they want, but Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar and retired Captain Josephine Guillebeau, retired, wore the uniform, risked everything, and served this country with honor. That service doesn't strip them from their voices. It gives weight to them. Standing up for innocent lives, even when it's unpopular, is the essence of courage. You don't have to agree with their stance to respect their right to speak. Disagree with policies all you want, but don't slander veterans who already paid their dues and earned their right to stand up for what they believe in. That's not betrayal. That's patriotism in its purest form. Thank you, Anthony, and thank you, Josephine, for your honorable service to America and continuing to serve by speaking out. That's from Tito Unleashed over there on X. Carrie asked, question, had they not been in uniform, would there still be a problem? Other people say they are heroes. Billions upon Barkin Boss Jam says they are heroes. Billions upon billions of U.S. tax dollars are funding Netanyahu's war so he can stay in power. Israel has the Iron Dome, the most sophisticated intelligence systems in the world, and a modernized military, but Netanyahu left his border unprotected. Okay, that's another unpopular opinion, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We are 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. JVR, shout out to JVR90. He wanted a shout out. If this is your first time in my live stream, press the number 5 and I will give you a shout out. If I can catch your name in here, press the number 5. I will give you a shout out. They are in handcuffs for this right here. If you're just now coming in, I'll play the clip one more time. This is why they are in handcuffs, because they did this in military uniform.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Rise up! Rise up, America! Rise up! It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is.
Okay, they're saying Mad Soldier, Trump was an informant for the FBI. They're saying Trump was an informant for the FBI. That's coming on later in the episode. Hang around and we'll get to it. RB Double, welcome in. Hope you subscribe. Matt Ward, hope you subscribe. JW, Darker Side, hope you subscribe. Legendary, hope you subscribe. Nick Gibson, your line. I see you in here a lot. Zulu King, hope you subscribe. But Nick Gibson, shout out to you for being in here. Shout out to all of the first timers in the chat. I'm going to play this clip one more time. They are rising up, speaking out against Palestine, but they care, W, because they are in uniform. That is why they care. If they're asking the question, would this be a problem if they were not in uniform? But because they are in uniform, it is a big deal. A lot of people are saying that this could result in death. People are pulling up the military codes and saying that this could result in being unalived.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Rise up! Rise up, America! Rise up! It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time.
Going out to the vote about.
Thank you for your service.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Okay, so listen. This is what it's saying. Mag 1775 says the uniform isn't a prop for politics. It represents the republic. You disgrace it, you're out. Discharge, drill, strip, rank. The Marines taught me one thing: the uniform is earned, not abused. Frank James says retired military personnel may still fall under the Uniform Code of Military Justice if they are receiving retirement pay or in certain situations such as receiving hospital care from the armed forces. However, those who retire without qualifying for retirement pay generally do not fall under U.S. Code of Military Justice. Here it goes. They are not active service members except as otherwise 10 U.S. Code 771. Unauthorized wearing prohibited except as otherwise provided by law. No person except a member of Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Space Force, as the case may be, may wear 1. The uniform as a distinctive part of the uniform of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Space Force, or 2. A uniform any part of which is similar to a distinctive part of the uniform of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Space Force. And that's what they're saying that these individuals violated. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We are 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. Yeah, that they said Trump was an FBI informant against Epstein. Trump was an FBI informant against Epstein. Is a legend. I'll pull up that clip right now. I'll pull up the clip right now of Speaker Johnson. Speaker Johnson said out of his mouth Trump was an FBI informant. So we had this information break over yesterday, chat. Double tap the screen, share the live out. We had this information break over yesterday. This is from Allison in the Know over there on Twitter X. This is a clip of Speaker Johnson. This is a clip of Speaker Johnson speaking on Trump and Epstein.
I'm saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who suffer these unspeakable harm. It's detestable. Informant to try to take Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
You hear him. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. So Speaker Johnson just told the world that Trump is confirmed an FBI informant. So a lot of people are conflicted. Like I said, I'll pull up the post right here. I'll pull up the post right here. So for me, before I even pull up the post, for me, I do understand how it goes. Most of the time people get offered an informant role, it is because they might have been caught up in some stuff or been had their name in some stuff. Like, hey, you might have been hanging around with some people or something. Does that mean it's a complete cover up? I don't know, Chad. I want to know, man. I want to know. I think this, though. I think that if he was an FBI informant, he knows a lot more than what we've heard. If he was an FBI informant, he's privy to some information. He's telling them information, whether it's classified, can't be talked about, or whatever. I don't know. But he knows a lot more than we've heard. And this FBI informant nod kind of confirmed that for me. He knows a lot more than we heard. Listen.
I'm not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who suffer these unspeakable harm.
Alright, so alright, they're asking Grok. They asked Grok, was Trump an FBI informant against Epstein? Grok says no official FBI or DOJ records confirm Trump was an informant against Epstein. Speaker Johnson claimed this in a recent interview, citing Mar-a-Lago's ban, but it's unverified. Historically, Trump provided tips to a lawyer in Epstein's 2009 case, per attorney Bradley Edwards. The Michael McFerrin, or ex McFerrin, over there on X, says they are creating and backdating documents now as we speak. Shaking my head. Anybody that believes this for a millisecond should be admitted for a 72-hour hold. So they're accusing the Trump administration of documenting everything. Linda says, as much as I love President Trump, I hate how he's handling this. When he was asked about the Epstein victims who testified behind closed doors and held a press conference, he kind of snapped and said this is a Democratic hoax. Meanwhile, one of the women who was abused by Epstein as a minor said, President Trump, I'm a registered Republican and I want you to know this is not a hoax. Trump should clean this up because it makes him seem uncaring. Vanessa says, yes, Trump was the whistleblower for Epstein. Steve says, at this point, I won't be surprised if the next story they say they will give us says Trump was actually one of the abuse victims. It's crazy. They said, so the client list didn't exist, but now he was an informant for a hoax that also doesn't exist. That's crazy. That's from 86 Coin over there on X. So the client list does not exist, but now he was an informant for a hoax that also doesn't exist. Cats Without Borders says that was in 2008 Florida case. Few believe President Trump is on the list. They believe he's perhaps protecting the donors and or tech oligarchs. Well, that is wrong too. Article from Amuse says Trump was the Epstein whistleblower in 2005. Author Michael Wolff revealed that Jeffrey Epstein discovered it was Donald Trump who blew the whistle on him in 2005. As a result, Epstein reportedly lived in fear during Trump's presidency, believing he would be targeted after evading significant accountability for his crimes. That's from an article on Amuse. Jason Schmidt says that Trump should be proud to release the files instead of obstructing. Marku says in most cases, in order to become an FBI informant, you got to either be arrested or threatened to be arrested for a crime, and then cooperation with the law enforcement will be given to you as the only option to potentially either reduce a sentence or keep you out of jail. How are y'all feeling about that, chat? Was it a hoax? Was it not a hoax, man? Do y'all think that it was a hoax or not a hoax, chat? It's crazy. They're saying Trump's handling the Epstein case bad. They're saying that one of the victims is a registered Republican, but when she was a minor when it happened, and she's saying, President Trump, this is not a hoax. I would appreciate it if you stopped calling it a hoax. You said who told me that? I'm reading this directly from X. I'm reading this directly from Twitter X. But me, just in my case, I don't know anybody who just becomes an informant out of nowhere. Like, there has to be some sort of incentive. Maybe they're trying to get paid and they like reach out to the police like, hey, I'll do this to be in a, you know what I'm saying, like to get paid, or they'll be in trouble. Eric Guerrero says, I'm an informant. I am not an informant. Actually, when I got on probation, I actually had to sign a piece of paper that said I had zero credibility, where I couldn't be an informant. You know, that I don't know if they do that everywhere, but in Arkansas, they make you sign this paper that says you can't work with the police once you get put on papers. Let's keep moving forward. I didn't say Trump was an informant. Hell, the Speaker Johnson said Trump was an informant. Why are you mad at me because they're calling Trump an informant?
He's not saying that what Epstein
How the hell you mad at me?
terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president.
But you mad at me. Speaker Johnson called him a informant to get him some credibility, and you coming here mad at me. That's crazy. That's crazy. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We're gonna I got like one or two more topics before we get into the Chicago takeover. Yeah, okay, this is the next story. While we're here, I'm just gonna read this article right quick. Damn, they're gonna make me log in. Hold on. Alright, here it goes. It says this. Right now, Arkansas farmers are facing a severe crisis in 2025. Rising bankruptcies are driven by a combination of high-cost inputs, low crop prices, severe weather, and delayed government aid. Over 260,000 acres of farmland were damaged by flooding in April, destroying $78 million worth of crops, particularly rice. That's Stuttgart has the rice fields, chat. They got mosquitoes this big too, chat. In Stuttgart, that's where the rice fields are. It says at the same time, farming expenses for fertilizer, fuel, seeds, and labor have surged due to inflation and tariffs, while market prices for key commodities like corn, soybeans, wheat, rice have dropped to the lowest levels since 2020. Rice prices are down about 40% compared to the previous year. Farm bankruptcies in Arkansas are increasing at an alarming rate. In the first quarter of 2025, 15 farms filed for Chapter 12 bankruptcy, already surpassing a total of 16 filings for 2024. Nationally, Chapter 12 filings That didn't make sense. Nationally, Chapter 12 filings nearly doubled in the first quarter of 2025 compared to the same period in 2024, with Arkansas accounting for 3 of the 88 national filings. Chapter 12 allows farmers to restructure debt while continuing operations, but more severe cases involve Chapter 7, where assets like land and equipment are liquidated. So that's what they're saying is going on in Arkansas with the farmers right now. They're saying that about one third of the Arkansas farms are at critical. They're at critical levels right now. They are probably not gonna make it into next year. They're probably not going to make it into next year. 1/3 of Arkansas farms, and they're saying that USAID, or the government aid, the USAID, the one that they took from the farmers earlier this year, holding it up, is gonna cause their farms to have to shut down. They're gonna cause their farms to have to shut down, or at least file for Chapter 12 where they can continue operations. They said 15 in the first quarter. Just in the first quarter of 2025, over 15 farms in Arkansas have filed for bankruptcy. It was a total of 16 last year. In the first quarter of this year, there's already 15. It's critical in Arkansas. Prayers for the farmers in Arkansas. So this right here, chat, is the BRICS currency that's being unveiled. Okay, chat, I'm going to get into the article for you guys. It says a knockout blow to the dollar is coming. A knockout blow to the dollar is coming. BRICS unveils a symbolic 200 note while still using national currencies to ditch the dollar in trade. No need to rush a unified currency. The West is already panicking. Dollar dominance is crumbling. This article was from June, like I said, but it's going back viral because India is now on board. At this point in time, they were saying India was slowing up the process, but now that we've seen India pop out at the Chinese parade, the military show of force, they're saying that this is going to be a problem. They said there will be no BRICS currency without a centrally controlled reserve based on real assets. None of the banks trust each other to the point that they'd agree to that. That's why discussions on this have always failed. Thieves trusting thieves. A lot of people are calling for the elimination of the dollar and the elimination of NATO over here. It says the BRICS symbolic banknote unveiled as a gesture towards reducing U.S. dollar resilience, not a functional currency. It reflects ambitions for a multipolar financial system, with BRICS promoting local currency trade and systems like BRICS Pay. However, the dollar dominates over 80% of global trade, and BRICS faces internal divisions, economic disparities, and U.S. opposition, including tariff threats. The banknote's immediate impact is minimal, and claims of a knockout blow to the dollar are exaggerated. Long-term effects remain uncertain. That was Grok's response. I need something to drink too, bro. That was Grok's response. Double tap the screen, share the live out. We are currently 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. Press 1 if y'all in here rocking with me, having a good time on this Saturday night. Press 1 if y'all are rocking with me, having a good time on this Saturday night. I hope everybody's having a good start to their weekend. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next story. Okay, the next story. Oh, we got 2 more stories before we get into the Chicago ordeal. The next story is right here.
To get worse for Donald Trump, but it just got worse, with a senior official in the Department of Justice who was out on what he thought was a date off of a dating app, telling his date that the Department of Justice was redacting names of Republicans, leaving just Democrats in there in order to hurt Democrats and help Republicans. He also admitted that the reason that Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to her low minimum security prison camp, Fed spa, was to reward her to ensure that she didn't speak up. Not because she did speak, but to encourage her not to go after Donald Trump. And what is the Department of Justice doing about it? Some sort of half-hearted apology saying the guy doesn't know anything, that even though he's the acting deputy chief of staff and the enforcement operations, that he doesn't really know anything, that's not really what's happening, he's not involved. And now they've had to apologize because it looks like they're manipulating the Epstein files. If you thought Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, was on thin ice before, you hear that cracking sound? That's her dropping through the ice. I'm Michael Popok. Of course I've got the receipts. I've got the video that O'Keefe Media Group, O'Keefe used to be the founder of Project Veritas, which used to go after Democrats, by the way. But now, going through the dating apps and finding people like this guy, Joe Schmidt. How much longer is he going to be at the Department of Justice based on this reporting? I can't contain myself. Thank you for joining on this Saturday morning. I'm giddy. Let's get to it. You're on Legal AF. So Joe Schmidt, acting deputy chief of the Office of Enforcement in the Department of Justice, I guess is single. And he decides to go on a dating app. This one I think is called Hinge. And while he's on Hinge, he meets a person named Skylar. Should have been the first step off. Sorry, Skylar's out there. And he goes on 2 dates with her. At some point, he gets so relaxed on his date that he starts spilling the beans to Skylar, quote, Skylar, who he doesn't know is an O'Keefe Media Group undercover, about the Epstein files. Here's what he has to say.
Well, those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
They visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison 2 years ago, which is against the OP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. They're offering her something to keep her mouth shut.
What do you do for work again?
I work for the Department of Justice.
Okay.
Been there like 23 years. I'm an analyst. I'll be acting deputy chief of our office for a few months starting next week. I work closely with like all the federal law enforcement agencies, the U.S. Attorney's offices, the prosecutors and stuff. The thing is, it's interesting because I do deal with so many of the agencies, like the Bureau of Prisons, the Marshal Service, the FBI, U.S. Attorney's offices. Internally there's a lot of, even within the administration, there's internal conflict. The head of FBI really wants it. Second in command at FBI has been causing.
I don't know if that guy goes live every day. Love you. But I do go live every day. I try to go live every single day on my channel, but the guy that we were watching, I don't know when he goes live, but I try to go live every single day, twice a day. So we do about at least 10 to 12 live streams a week. We do about 10 to 12 live streams a week over here. I appreciate you for pulling up on me. But yeah, that was a hot mic. He was caught on that hot mic. Moving into the last story before we get into the main topic of the night. This is the last story before we get into the main topic of the night, chat. This is the doctor I was telling you guys about at the beginning of the episode.
There's two men.
So this is Dr. Robert Malone confirmed the leaking of a memo by Big Pharma lobbyists to derail Make America Healthy Again and have Secretary Kennedy, RFK Jr., fired by the end of September, paying conservative influencers $1,000 per post. This was posted September 6th. This is from the 6th, which is today. Oh, credit goes to Say Kate 108, Cat A over there on X.
Major pharmaceutical industry lobbying groups. One is called Pharma and the other is called Bio. Pharma is more biased towards, let's say, petroleum-based compounds. Bio is more biased towards vaccines, biologics, and of course the RNA products. Bio's the...
Good night, Liberty. I hope you have a good night, Liberty. We'll see you on the next one. I don't know what that symbol is on this shirt. XX, what it do? La, you got those plain lays? I do not know what that symbol is on this shirt. But listen to him talking about Big Pharma paying influencers $1,000 per post to attack RFK.
Smaller of the two. Bio has a total war chest for lobbying and influencing of about $4 million. And a memo was leaked a little while ago. Recent meeting held at Bio, they have not denied this in any way. They decided to deploy 2 million of their 4 million war chest with the specific objective of having the secretary fired by the end of September. They specifically said that they were going to deploy a wide range of technologies to achieve this. One of which, by the way, is the purchasing of influencers. The going rate, by the way, is $1,000 a post. Purchasing, in particular, of conservative influencers. Post things that would advocate against the interests of Baja and against the interests of the secretary and advocate that the secretary be fired by the president. You see all of these harmonized messages coming out from corporate media. You should note when you see that signal that somebody, some power, some force of money, pressure of money is behind that, because otherwise you get these articles pop up spontaneously, randomly at different points in time. When you see all this come as a pressure, specifically said that they were going to deploy a wide range of technologies to achieve this. One of which, by the way, is the purchasing of influencers. The going rate, by the way, is $1,000 a post.
$1,000 a post. 1K a post to attack RFK is what they saying. Is crazy. So they going after the conservative influencers because they already know that the left is going to go after them. Then we just seen Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren trying to tear into her. Shit crazy. Shit is crazy. Alright, chat, let's get into the main topic of tonight. Chicago, the War Department. Trump did rename the Department of Defense into the Department of War. That's kind of just gonna go into this topic. That's kind of gonna go into this topic right here. Double tap the screen, shut a live out for me, chat. We are still currently 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal, man. I hope y'all having a good night out here tonight, man. This is what Trump posted that has the world looking around. He says this: I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. And he posts this picture right here, calling it Shopocalypse now. They're calling it the Shopocalypse. You see the choppers flying over the city. You see Trump with the hat on, with the two swords and his green fatigues, man. You see the flames behind it. Like, look, man. You see what the hell is going on, man. And we know, we remember what they will, you know what I mean? We remember Black Wall Street. We know what can go on. They're saying when we were the Department of War, we was winning wars. When we became the Department of Defense, we started having ties and stalemates and shit, getting whooped, pulling out of places and not looking too good. Trump said that this is what he's ready to do, man. And he's saying, I love the smell of deportations in the morning. So we can expect this week, we will see that coming. We're going to get into Pritzker. Oh, Pritzker, man, we've been watching Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, and we've been keeping a close eye on Governor Pritzker. Oh, Pritzker, oh pal, we've been keeping an eye on Governor Pritzker, but he just sat down with MSNBC today. He sat down with MSNBC today. Let's see if I can find it. Or was it yesterday? He sat down with MSNBC yesterday, talking about Chicago is bracing for the ICE raid. Chicago's bracing for the immigration raid. Chicago's bracing for the troops, man. Let's get into this and see what he's saying now that it has become a reality. And he's their last line of defense, man.
And being able to build an app with.
Imagine me paying for free ads, ad-free service. Oh, hold on, chat. Y'all don't need to be all in there. Let me make this. You know what I'm saying? Let me get this shit out the way real quick. Oh, yeah, not supposed to be over here. Hold on, chat.
This afternoon, I sat down with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker to talk about what is happening on the ground, what he's seeing, what he knows, what tools he has to fight back, and what Trump's ultimate goal is. Governor Pritzker, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Thank you, Gito. Thank you, Big Niche.
So as we sit here today, there are visible preparations.
Thank you, Gito. Thank you, Big Niche. Y'all give Gito and Big Niche some flames on those gifts. Y'all give Big Niche and Gito some flames on those gifts, man. Double tap the screen, shut the live out. We are still 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. Can we get a quick 25 subs, chat? Hold on, let me get this out of my face. Is that why y'all not subscribing? Because my damn head was covered up. Let me put the sub goal over here for today. Let me put the sub goal over here, man. Yeah, so look, hold on, it's this way. 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal, chat. Come on, man. If y'all having a good time in my live stream, press the number 3. Press 3 if you having a good time in here, man. If you are a first timer, press the number 1. Press the number 1 if you a first timer. Mods, make all the first timers feel welcome.
In Chicago, including fencing near the downtown buildings and Homeland Security vehicles set up. One of the challenges you've talked about is the lack of communication from the president and from the White House about what exactly they're preparing. Have you heard anything more directly from them?
No, which is shocking, really. The federal government not communicating with state government about what is supposed to be a law enforcement action by them. That's unheard of, really. And I've been governor since the Trump first term and through the Biden term and now in this term. And I've never seen anything like this. And frankly, the former governors that I've talked to, Republicans and Democrats in Illinois, have said they haven't seen anything like this either. So it's a kind of a frightening development in the history of the country that you have a federal government not communicating with state government about something like this.
As much as they're saying things on television, which is what people are hearing. There's been reports that they have been in touch at some level with local police or local law enforcement. What are you preparing for in terms of the scope of this?
Well, we did get one call finally. This is after weeks of Donald Trump threatening and saying he's sending troops in and not telling us exactly what their plan is. But we got one call from this fellow Gregory Bovino, who's a leader at Customs and Border Patrol and ICE. And he's the one who caused a lot of the mayhem in Los Angeles. He is apparently leading the effort to come into Chicago. And he called our state police and let us know, let our state police director know only that they are coming and that they intend to be in place by the end of this week. And that's it. They didn't tell us how many. They didn't tell us what actions they're going to take. They didn't tell us what neighborhoods. Remember, we have local law enforcement here who are responsible for keeping the peace, making sure that we're operating at a appropriate level to keep crime down. And to have people, roaming the streets, wearing uniforms, and arresting people off the streets, wearing masks and driving their military-like vehicles.
Why did MSNBC do the governor like that, bro? Why do they keep doing them like that, chat? Like, you can tell he sat down, he has on a nice plaid shirt, so you just don't expect it, but it's like, come on, man. Like, then they cut to the scene to show, like, his damn pants and shit. And it's like, why did they do him like that, chat? Like, look, chat. Why did they do him like that? You know what I'm saying? Those are some nice gray jeans and some nice, I don't know. I think I seen those shoes at the shoe department. That's a nice, what do you call that, loafers? I don't know if they got laces or what. I can't see. But why they do him like that, man? They could have kept the interview straight back and forth, but they did it on purpose, man. I'm telling y'all. That's why you got to stay ready so you don't got to get ready, man. Come on, Governor.
And he's the one who caused a lot of the mayhem in Los Angeles. He is apparently leading the effort to come into Chicago. And he called our state police and let us know, let our state police director know only that they are coming and that they intend to be in place by the end of this week. And that's it. They didn't tell us how many. They didn't tell us what actions they're going to take. They didn't tell us what neighborhoods. Remember, we have local law enforcement here who are responsible for keeping the peace, making sure that we're operating at a appropriate level to keep crime down, and to have people roaming the streets, wearing uniforms, and arresting people off the streets, wearing masks and driving their military-like vehicles. And tossing people in, and that's incredibly disruptive.
Yeah.
And if they would just let us know, Chicago Police, Illinois State Police, where they're going, what time they're going. We are obligated not to stand in the way, also not to assist. But
yeah, he does need to stay ready. Whoever, whatever. Love to you from South Georgia. Love back to you from Arkansas. Whoever, whatever, man. I hope everybody's having a great night out here, man. If y'all are enjoying your weekend, press 1 if you are enjoying your weekend. This is Pritzker bracing for the troop deployment. He's kind of giving his layout. He said that they only called him one time to basically say, yeah, we'll be there by the end of the week, man. We'll be there by the end of the week. He said they gave him no instructions, no orders, no layout, no locations. It's just, hey, we'll be there at the end of the week.
But we also can be of assistance to the residents by keeping them safe while these operations are going on. And again, no communication at all, and especially, of course, on the subject of whether they're going to send...
Do I think they'll go for the real gangsters in Chicago? Yes. And I think it's going to be, I don't think they're going to go looking for anybody, but what I think it's going to be is going to be people living their life. People going to be still in beef. The beef not going to die down. The enemies, the gang, the YNs into it, the OGs into it, that's not going to die down just because the guard is there. Some people are going to risk it all, and they're going to get in that car with that Glock on them, or that ARP on them, or that switch on the back, and they gonna get cooked. Cook County is finna be full. They finna send, how much did they get? They got like 1,100 people. They got like 1,100 people in, a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks maybe in DC, 2-3 weeks in DC. They got 1,100 people. Oh, Cook County is about to be full. Because that's not gonna stop. The beef not gonna stop. It's just people gonna go to jail. They finna get some shit off the streets for sure. For sure. If they going to the south side and they not just gonna be downtown, they're gonna get some shit off the streets, but nothing gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe shootings and stuff not gonna be as high, but as far as people still having guns and stuff, yeah, they gonna still have their guns. They still gonna ride with their guns. They're still gonna go pick up whatever they doing with they still gonna do it, because it's a way of life out there. But when them blue lights get behind them, or you seen how they was doing in DC, they was coming through in unmarked cars, just cutting cars off, jumping out on them. They get to doing that in Chicago. Oh yeah. They're going to get some guns off the streets. A lot of people, Cook County going to be full to the brim. To the brim.
National Guard from another state or from my state into neighborhoods in Chicago.
There's also what seems one of the challenges also seems like there's multiple operations they seem to be preparing, at least from what they're saying publicly. There's also been reporting that the Defense Department has approved using a nearby naval base north of the city as a staging area for ICE. So that is not separate, it's all connected, and possibly to have that as a place where federal troops are. Do you have any sense even of the scope of the ICE operation they're planning?
Not from ICE. We're getting, again, it's all second-hand, third-hand. There are a lot of patriotic Americans who work in the administration or work at the departments or in the military who have let us know things without, having permission to do so.
Boom. He just told on them. He said there are a lot of people in the administration, a lot of people in government, a lot of people in military who let us know what's going on and they not supposed to. Very patriotic of them. Well, I'm going to tell you like this, Mr. Pritzker. I don't think you should have told on them folks, man. Those folks are at mercy of being crucified, man. Those folks are supposed to be helping you out and you showed your hand talking about exactly where they came from, too. Military, government. What if they look at them like this is a mole or treason or something? Come on, Pritzker. I don't think you were supposed to get on MSNBC and tell that you got sources in everywhere, man. What the hell is going on? Now what if your sources are fried? What if they say, nah, they done buckled down, we not fucking with you no more, Pritzker? Nope. You gonna tell on us, man, they get to putting cigarettes out on your arm or whatever's going on. You gonna tell on us, man, you gonna let everything go down. And it all falls down.
And so I would call some of that rumor, but, well.
Somebody said Arkansas. You said I'm in Arkansas and we're blessed to have Huckabee family for a political dynasty. The people here use guns for hunting and for protection. I'm from Arkansas as well, L.A. Kelly. I love the gun laws in Arkansas. When it comes to the Huckabees, I've been in Arkansas a while and I've heard both sides of the coin when it comes to the Huckabees. I don't have any complaints for the Huckabees right now. I don't have any complaints, but I have heard both sides of the coin when it comes to the Huckabees. I do want to see Mike Huckabee sit down with Netanyahu. That's what I want to see. I've seen Netanyahu sit down with Patrick Bet-David, seen him sit down with Officer Tatum. They said he sat down with somebody before Patrick Bet-David, but I want to see Netanyahu sit down with Mike Huckabee. That's what I want to see.
Rumors. We also know because Great Lakes Naval Base, which is where they're stationing themselves, is in North Chicago, and so the North Chicago local police and local elected officials have at least some information. So, look, I don't have a lot to share with the public. Whatever I have heard, I have shared with the public, because I think everybody should know, despite the fact the federal government would like them not to know, apparently. So we think there are about 300 agents that may be at Great Lakes and preparing to invade the communities around Chicago, like Little Village, like Pilsen.
Falcon said, was he an informant? According to Speaker Johnson, you can go look up the clip of Speaker Johnson speaking, I believe it was yesterday. He let it leak. He said out of his mouth that Trump was an FBI informant. He said it out of his mouth. So that's from Speaker Johnson, is saying that Trump was an FBI informant.
And perhaps beginning early morning tomorrow.
This feels a lot to me like the playbook they followed in LA, where they are upping or have plans seemingly to up their ICE operations, go into communities, go after and arrest people without criminal records, prompt people to protest, which is something we saw in LA, and then claim it is some sort of security threat that prompts military being in the streets. Do you see it as a playbook they're following? Is that what you're preparing for here?
It's, I believe, a nefarious plan. It's one that's been repeated over and over again by tyrannical dictatorships across history, where you try to incite local population into some mayhem by sending in police or other disruptors, and then claim that there's too much mayhem on the ground.
Good night, Nicole. I hope you subscribe to the channel, Nicole. We'll see you on the next one. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We are 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. I see that Durham says, I met Trump in Studio 54 in New York in 1978. Wonderful man. Durham, that's cool, Durham. 1978. Did you think back then that Trump would be president one day? Did you think back in 1978 Trump would become president of the United States of America? Double tap the screen, shut a live out. 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. If this is your first time on my live stream, press 4. And my mods will make sure they give you a warm welcome, and I'll try to shout out as many of you guys as I can.
And therefore, there must be troops that are sent in, and that's how you basically convert a democracy into something other than that. And so that is what really worries me here. And look, we've already seen it. LA, they did do it in LA exactly that way. But that wasn't new to anybody, at least it began if you look throughout history. And of course, Washington, D.C., where I know the president and Congress has control of the federal district, so they can do whatever they want, you know.
Chill and Katie, welcome in. Insidious and Jasmine, welcome in. Hope you guys subscribe. Eyes of the World and Alex Vasquez. Hope you guys having a great start to your weekend. You as well, Richard. Man, I hope you having a good weekend, Richard.
No, but it is illegal. What they're suggesting that they're going to do is illegal, and we're ready to go to court when they kind of trip the wire, so to speak, and there's been an incident that allows us to do that as soon as we can. And so that's all we have, though. Remember, they if the courts don't rule.
Nicole, we go live every single day over here, at least about 12 live streams a week. I try to keep all of my live streams up for at least a week, then I move them over to members only, where we have over 300 past live streams that you can have access to. But I try to keep them up for at least a week. We do about 12 live streams a week. Most days we're on twice a day, about 8, anywhere between 8 to 9:30 a.m. Central Time, and about 9:30 to 10 p.m. Central Time at night. So we're on about 6 days a week.
You know, in favor of posse comitatus, that's an act that prevents, supposedly, the federal government from sending troops into a state to do law enforcement. If they don't enforce that or understand that what Trump is doing is unconstitutional, then we're then at the whims of a fighting force that they're planning to send here. Remember, the people that they're talking about sending in, these military troops, are trained for war. They're not trained for, crowd control. They're not trained to fight crime. They're not trained to arrest people.
Okay, so he's saying the military is not trained. That's kind of what we heard from the D.C. mayor. Similar situation, saying that the military is not de-escalation first. They're not trained in de-escalation first. Good night, Nicole. Amira, welcome in. I hope you subscribed, Amira. But I want to know how you guys feel with the way it's been going in D.C. and the way it was handled in L.A. How do you guys feel about it going to Chicago? Do you think it'll be a smooth transition, or do you think it might be a lot more situations arise because of the new atmosphere of it being in Chicago?
That local police are, that local and civilian law enforcement are trained to do those things. And so that's why I've said, look, if Donald Trump wants to help us as we're fighting crime, by the way, we've done a terrific job on the ground here. The last 4 years, we've seen homicides drop in half. We've seen virtually every measure of violent crime drop by double digits. If they want to help us to continue that trend, why not help us with providing ATF, right? The people who can help us interdict firearms that are coming from every state around us has weak or no limitations on firearms. And indeed, more than half of the guns that are used in the state of Illinois come from states around us, not.
There you go. There you go. It's the shootings. He had all of those shootings happen the past weekend, and he knows that when the military gets here, that's going to be the headlines. I just broke that down to y'all. Haven't even watched this clip. They are going to pull guns off the streets of Chicago because they're not going to stop riding with them. They have to go on about their lives, right? But they are still at war. There are still active wars going on. A lot of blood has been shed on every side. So when they go out to handle their business, they are still going to have it on them. A lot of these guns are going to be stolen. A lot of these guns are going to be coming from other states around him. So he's throwing out his he's just throwing it out there like, look, these guns aren't coming from Chicago. They're coming from states with really lax gun laws. They're coming from states with really lax gun laws because that's going to be the story. Chicago, 2 weeks in, we got 1,000 arrests. We pulled 500 guns off of the streets. We pulled 400 guns off of the streets. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the theme in Chicago. I'm calling it.
Our state. So why don't you help us with ATF agents who already work with us on the ground, but we could use more. FBI, DEA, we're fighting gangs, we're fighting drugs. That happens in every major city. If you want to help us fight crime, send us civilian law enforcement.
There are ways to fight crime. I mean, the statistic I've seen, and you can check me because you're the governor, is that 84% of homicides in Chicago involve a firearm, which shouldn't be surprising to anyone. As you mentioned, there's an influx of guns that come over from the state of Indiana where the gun laws are not as strong as they are in the state of Illinois. So there are things that can be done if you are actually trying to address crime. I want to just go back to something you said about the National Guard, because this is something that other leaders have mentioned as a big challenge. I mean, the National Guard are not trained. They're trained to be in war zones. They're not trained to be fighting crime or patrolling cities or communities. You've said that the Philadelphia DA has also said that if they come in and they violate the law, that they will be prosecuted or you will go after them. What does that look like? How do you even enforce that? Is that local police or local law enforcement tracking what the National Guard is doing, or what do you envision there?
Well, let's start with, we can't.
She just said that he's going to arrest the National Guard.
I'm talking about the state or the city officials or law enforcement. We can't track what every one of the ICE officials and officers are doing on the ground. So we've asked the public. I've been very explicit about this. People in neighborhoods, they don't want these ICE officials. They don't want troops on the ground. And so what we've asked is that people pull out their iPhone or their Android phone and film what they're seeing. Take a video of everything that you see so that we can know if, in fact, laws are being broken by these federal officials coming into our state. They're not allowed to do certain things. They're not allowed, for example, with their administrative warrants, to break down a door to find somebody. They're just not. An administrative warrant doesn't give you that ability. If you want to go get a judicial warrant, which they can't because they don't have enough evidence that will allow a judge to make that determination for most of these situations, then we would abide by a judicial warrant. At least a court will have heard it. There will have been lawyers involved in helping to make the decision. But no, this is just an administrative warrant written up by essentially a police officer who decided, an ICE officer who's decided, I want to go after that house or that person or that family, and they get to just write it themselves with no oversight. So this is the challenge, and I think we need the public to be involved in monitoring that, and we're making sure that we're also asking the public, because they know they're going to protest. We're asking them to be peaceful in that protest, to make sure that they're doing, they're making their voices heard, they're using their megaphones and microphones, but that they stay out of the way of these.
Why he not going? Chat, if he's so opposed to this as the governor, should he protest with his Chicagoans, with his Illinois family. Should he be protesting as well, Chad? Would y'all respect Pritzker more if he got out there on the front lines and led a peaceful protest, or is that too much? Is Chicago too much and it's too wild and it might end up bad like Pritzker led a riot?
Officials. In terms of the National Guard, I mean, you've said that you don't have the authority to override federal orders as it relates to the National Guard from your state. It's possible, and there have been reports that there could be a consideration of calling up National Guard from Texas, say, or other states, red states that might be more inclined to listen to President Trump, to put it diplomatically. Is that something where you would have any other legal authority or additional ability or capacity to take action to prevent those National Guard from other states from coming, or does it apply in the same way?
Unfortunately, any National Guard from any state that is federalized now becomes like a military troop. They are not allowed to do law enforcement. They can come into the city, but they are restricted essentially to federal buildings, protecting federal buildings. If that's what they intend to do, that is legal. But they're not allowed to simply come into the neighborhoods and start, imposing their will. There are laws against this. There is, in fact, unless there's some sort of insurrection, which there is clearly not, or an attack on the United States coming from a city, then these troops are not allowed to do anything other than protect those federal buildings. But he's looking for an excuse. And the excuse that Donald Trump is looking for is, well, there have been protesters who are interfering with the execution of the ICE officers' duties. And that there may be somebody who shoves somebody or, is put in a situation where it looks like they're committing some sort of assault. And then they'll point at that. Donald Trump will point at that and say, well, clearly we need to protect the...
On my kids, Robert H., drop my paperwork. Drop my paperwork. They said Robert H. says Pluxation is an informant. I looked up his paperwork. Drop my paperwork.
So we're going to have to use federal force. It's a pretense. We know what it's about, and it has nothing to do with fighting crime. And it has, honestly, sending National Guard in has nothing to do with immigration either. What it has to do with is he's trying to set the stage for interference in the elections in 2026 and in 2028.
I know you've made that point before, and that made my ears perk up, and it should be alarming to anyone. What does that look like? Because it sounds like you're saying there's going to be military in the streets that are going to prevent people from participating in the elections. Is that it, or it's something else?
It could be that. It also could be claiming that there's something wrong with the election results or the counting of ballots, so they're going to take control of the ballot boxes. And why do I say this? I mean, why do I suspect that that's in fact what they're doing? Well, look at the history here. Donald Trump encouraged people to be part of a Stop the Steal movement in 2020. When he lost the election, he then went out and fomented engagement in this activity to deny the election, and then fomented the January 6th protesters to do what they did, which is attack the Capitol. And then he pardoned them after they were found to have committed criminal acts. And then let's fast forward to today. He's back in office, and he's talking about maybe people would like a dictatorship. He said that publicly. I mean, that's out loud. You can go look at it. What about his entreaty that he believes he's just making things up in his head, that there is fraud going on that has helped to elect people to office. That they just recently asked for all of the records of people who voted in Illinois. They want all of the records. Imagine all your private information if you're an Illinois resident who is registered to vote. And they're going to find your home address, perhaps your phone number, your registration, or how you voted last time. This is all what's being requested by the Department of Justice. Think about all those things together. What is the purpose of all of that, if not to focus on interfering with the 2026 elections, which clearly he knows he's going to lose? How do we know that? Because now he's asking states to do a mid-decade redistricting. He went to Texas to try to get them to do it. They've now done it. Now he's going to Missouri and Indiana and other states to get them to do it. And, we have to stand up and make sure that we're focusing on what the real aims are, and that is to thwart the elections to give him more power.
You have never held back in speaking out against Trump and calling out what he's trying to do. There are also limitations even within our court system, because even as it relates to the actions of the National Guard, I mean, if you look at California, it's taken months and they're still in sort of the status quo. If they try to keep military on the streets, if they try to use it to prevent people from participating in the process, what are the options at your disposal as governor to do beyond working through the court system?
Well, we're focused on following the law, and we do rely upon the court system. California is a good example. There was a case that was just decided that, in fact, disallows, called illegal and unconstitutional, what Donald Trump did with the National Guard in California. That should hold for Illinois also. Now, again, the Supreme Court has said that, one jurisdiction that makes a decision doesn't have any holding or effect on another until it's decided there. So we'll have to go get that decision here, but it's clear that, anybody looking at the law, looking at the Constitution, would find it unconstitutional.
Have you been in touch? I know you talked to Governor Newsom and other governors. He's been through this before, a version of this. Have you asked him what he would have done differently?
My team has been in direct contact with our attorney generals, talked to their attorney general. I haven't spoken with Gavin about this, but we have a good relationship. And the truth is that we've seen what their playbook was, that is to fight Donald Trump in California, to push back, and we know what that is. We think we have the same options and maybe a few others. But it is important that the American public understands what's going on here writ large. This is a nefarious endeavor that he's going into blue states, blue cities. You don't see any activity in a Republican state or a Republican city, and yet when he says it's all about crime, those Republican states have higher crime rates. Those Republican cities have higher crime rates. So, this isn't about that. We should know that, and the public should know that. And I think slowly but surely, elected officials, Democrats, starting with Democrats, and the public are starting to see that they're going to have to stand up and speak out and push back.
Governor Pritzker, I know you have a lot going on in your state right now. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me.
Great to see you.
All right, man, that was Governor Pritzker, man. He said a lot in that clip. He said a lot, man. He says Trump's scared that they're going to lose the 2026 elections. He's going to Missouri and Indiana, trying to get them to gerrymander those districts. Oh, it's crazy, chat. Oh, damn, my light went out. Hold on, chat. But yeah, he's trying to get them to gerrymander those districts, man. Then we got he's saying that they can only be in front of federal buildings. So that's kind of what I said before. If they're not gonna put the troops down there in the south side, then it's not really gonna make a damn difference, man. But he said Trump's looking for a reason. We seen the shopocalypse starts now. Post that Trump made, which was kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy. Do I got the phone number pinned? I think I got the phone number pinned. If anybody wants to call in, we'll take a few call-ins before we get up out of here, chat. Before we get up out of here, chat. That's crazy. You said, what is gerrymandering? Well, the definition says the political manipulation of electoral district boundaries to advantage a party, group, or socioeconomic class within the constituency. Manipulation may involve cracking, diluting voting power of the opposing party supporters across many districts, or packing, concentrating the opposing party's voting power in one district to reduce their voting power in other districts. Gerrymandering can also be used to protect incumbents. Wayne Dawkins, a professor at Morgan State University, describes it as politicians picking their voters instead of voters picking their politicians. Yeah, that's the phone number, man, in case anybody wants to call in. That's the phone number, man. Yeah, chat, we are 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Renee says Chicago is collapsing. Chicago is collapsing. Tweety says gerrymandering should be voted out. Well, yeah, Tweety, you know, in 2019, like before 2019, the Supreme Court kind of had a, you know, I'm not going to say that they just, it wasn't happening, but the Supreme Court kind of was hearing cases on it. So, like, if you were gerrymandering, it could go to the Supreme Court. But in 2019, they ruled that, like, hey, look, we're not going to hear those gerrymandering cases anymore. So that's what opened the floodgates up for what's happening now. And it's like Supreme Court said that that's politician business. That's political business. Like, that's not nothing to do with it. It's crazy. You said you sound like you believe that sorry ass governor. I'm just gonna be real. I think that they was gonna go to the federal buildings before I watched this interview or not. I've been talking about the takeover of Chicago for like a week. I said this shit, nothing gonna happen in Chicago if they not gonna put boots on the ground in the actual areas of problem. If they're gonna send them downtown, by the Bean, by the malls, the Louis Vuitton store, nothing's gonna really change. That's what I said. So, as regarding what Pritzker said, I mean, shit, it is what it is. As far as what Pritzker said, it is what it is. He called for peaceful protests. What's going on, caller?
Hey.
What's up? Like, what, bro? He called my phone to say some wild shit. He need to feed that motherfucking dog. Yeah, he need to feed that dog. Oh, man, that's crazy. Yeah, I hung up on them because they was being, you know, freaked out. They was being freaked out. I don't got time. I'm kind of hungry, Chad. I had some rib tips earlier. I think I got one left. Some baked beans. I had some sweet potato fries too. You said 22,000 jobs created. We needed 250K just to keep up. Horrible jobs report. Grab your ankles. Of course. I see that they said the steel factories, the aluminum factories are opening back up in parts of the country, creating some jobs. Nah, I didn't hang up because the puppy was in the background. I hung up because they said something about the P word. They was talking about coochie. I hung up because they was talking about coochie chat. Yeah, I also seen a report where they said one in 4 jobs that are posted are ghost jobs now. 1 in 4 jobs that are on the market are ghost jobs. That's crazy. 1 in 4 jobs are ghost jobs. Crazy. Jason said Dems told us Biden was sharp as a tack. What it do, Leo? Yeah, chat, we finna get up out of here, man. We are going to end this episode, chat, and we'll be back tomorrow. I'll see y'all on the next one. Good night, chat.